The cleaning lady took just one glance at the crime scene and immediately pieced together everything that had happened the night before. A man had been taking a bath when someone suddenly grabbed his feet. After a struggle, he drowned in the water. Detective Dirk, who was handling the case, had learned his lesson this time. Afraid of jumping to conclusions only to be proven wrong again, he simply pointed out the scattered candles and clothes at the scene, suggesting the victim must have had one wild night. Ella nodded in approval. For someone with Dirk's level of intelligence, noticing even that much was pretty impressive, but she had spotted far more subtle details that others would miss. Take the pile of towels on the floor, for instance. The bottom two were folded, but the top one stood out as different. This meant the killer had used it to clean up the scene. Ella wanted to pull him down to take a closer look at the floor, but Dirk refused.
See just fine from up here, thanks, but what do you say?
However, Ella knelt down on the floor anyway, explaining that any decent cleaning person would use a mop to clean floors. But the marks at the scene clearly showed someone had wiped it with a towel. As a hotel guest, the victim would never have been thoughtful enough to wipe the floor and then fold the towel neatly. This proved there must have been someone else at the scene. Ella then launched into a bold hypothesis. Maybe the victim had hooked up with a dark-haired beauty last night, only to be drugged and drowned in the bathtub. Dirk couldn't help but interrupt, asking how Ella could possibly know the victim had been drugged when the autopsy hadn't even been done yet. The reason was actually quite simple.
Well, because who does their dishes in a hotel room? Except you. Anyway, this glass was rinsed out and wiped over.
Why covered?
That must have been trying to get rid of white president. Notice anything else on the glass?
So whiskey tumbler, lead-free, crystal cut, which is harder and more durable than glass, withstands most scratches. Also refracts light beautifully.
Want me to know you drink whiskey so bad.
Point being,
Dirk quickly caught on. This glass was obviously different from the ordinary ones in the room. So according to Ella's theory, the victim must have met a woman at a bar. After hitting it off, they came back to the hotel together. With their next investigative direction confirmed, they quickly headed to nearby bars to canvass the area. According to the bartender's recollection, the victim had indeed been with a sexy woman, but she was a blonde, not a brunette. Really? Although it was a slight deviation from what they'd imagined, it didn't affect the big picture. According to the hotel's surveillance footage, the blonde had stayed in the room with the victim for half an hour, and after she left, no one else had entered. Plus, the woman's profession was a doctor, which meant she had access to drugs. The police had enough reason to bring her in for questioning. This was Ella's first time sitting in on an interrogation. She could tell at a glance that the blonde was married, but regarding her relationship with the victim, the woman stated it was just no-strings-attached fun between two adults. She'd taken a shower in the bathroom last night, and when she came out and saw the man had fallen asleep, she left. However, the evidence was right there in front of them. Aside from the blonde, no one else had entered the victim's room last night. Just as Dirk was about to slap the handcuffs on her, Ella replayed all the clues in her mind one more time. She realized the woman actually hadn't lied. The area around the bathtub at the scene was surrounded by burned-out candles, except for one at the bottom of the tub that had only burned halfway down. Obviously, it had been extinguished by water the victim had splashed. Calculating that one candle burns for 4 hours, the time of death was clearly 2 hours after they'd entered the room. In other words, when the woman left, the victim hadn't been murdered yet.
Can I leave now?
Dirk reluctantly put away the handcuffs, then looked sternly at Ella. She'd better find him another suspect, or he was really going to lose it.